Welcome back to the Daily Mastermind. We are on episode 267. It's September 15th, and my name is George Wright III. I'm your host with a little more inspiration, motivation, and education for your day. I hope you're having an amazing week so far. I had a great workout this morning, and I had some powerful thoughts I wanted to share with you today. I was listening to a David Goggins video on YouTube while I was working out. Now, I don't know if you know who David Goggins is, but he's literally the toughest guy I've ever heard of. He's a retired Navy SEAL. He's the only member of the U.S. Armed Forces that's completed SEAL training, U.S. Army Ranger School, Air Force Tactical Controller School. I mean, he's run ultra marathons. He's a best-selling author, and on and on and on. But I was listening to him in order to get a little more motivation and sort of a kick in the butt. I've been sleeping in a little bit lately. It's the benefits and probably the downsides of being an entrepreneur is you can make your own schedule. But I needed to just kind of motivate myself. And I'll tell you, I've learned over the years that we all have these cycles of motivation in our life, where we're up and we're down and we're needing motivation. Sometimes we're needing something else a little deeper. But there are times when you need motivation, and there are times when you need something more. And I know that we cycle through life and through our life with different moods and circumstances, careers, relationships. But the key is to recognize exactly where you are right now and what you need specifically. And this is what I was thinking about as I was listening to this video. I know that there's a distinct difference between the fuel and energy you get from personal development and the fuel you get from motivation and things that are outside you. So I guess I'd ask myself, and I'd ask you this question: where are you right now? What do you need to get you moving in the right direction, moving forward in your life right now? And that's what I want to discuss with you and sort of clarify a little bit today. Let's talk about the different fuels that you can use in your life, because we all need different types of fuels at different stages of our life and our business. There's a difference between motivation, drive, purpose, but we need all three of those things in our life to fuel us. So it's very important to know the difference, and it's very important to know when you need each type of these fuels. It's sort of like a rocket ship. I use this example of the different stages of a rocket. If you've ever seen a rocket take off, it takes an immense amount of energy to get it off the ground, and then to get into the atmosphere it takes less energy, but it's a different stage of the rocket, and then ultimately cruising and going into space, right? It takes another type of phase, but a different amount of fuel. Most of the fuel, though, is getting off the ground. So let's start with the topic, or the fuel, motivation. Motivation is the first type of fuel that usually, this is going to come from outside of you. Goggins calls this the kindling that you need to get things started. It's the 1 hour burn. It's if you're starting a fire, it's a 1 hour burn, and the reason is because it doesn't last very long, but it will get you started. And so motivation comes from outside of you most of the time, but it is the spark that you need to get going. And so it might be music, it might be a video, it might be a coach, a friend, it might be some event that happens in your life. What is it that best motivates you? For me, it might be listening to a podcast. It might be doing a workout. It might be setting a goal or hitting an incentive. But you need to figure out what it is that motivates you the best. Now, I'm going to give you a word of caution here, because so many of us, well, let me say it this way. We've got to stop trying to change our entire life with just motivation. Too many of us are trying to reinvent our lives and create major change in ourselves with constant motivation. And this is not the point of motivation. Motivation is used to start the fire. It's just to create the spark. It's that 1 hour burn that David Goggins talks about. And this is probably why you hear thought leaders say a lot of times that motivation is crap. It's not sustainable. It's short term. But it does serve a purpose. And the purpose is to get you unstuck. It's to get you moving. It's to break your pattern. Does that make sense? But remember, it's not going to last, and it'll go away, and it'll leave you feeling empty and tired if that's all that you're doing to motivate and fuel yourself. That's why you need to use the motivation, this kindling, to fuel a much bigger log, something that's more sustainable, a log that you can have burning long-term, a fuel that creates long-term results in your life. Which brings us to the topic of drive, your drive. See, drive is that second type of fuel that usually comes from inside you. David Goggins talks about this being the big log. This is the 10,000 hour burn. Now, most people have been trying to start a big log with motivation, but that doesn't work that way. Motivation is your kindling. This is your 10,000 hour burn. This is the log that you can't start with because it would choke out your fire. It would put it out. But this is the fuel that takes your motivation and turns it into an obsession. This is where you need to go sort of from outside yourself to inside yourself to find your drive. You need to spark the light and then light that big log. But then you need to nurture your drive. You need to figure out, nurture, and build a strong desire and commitment to move your life and your business and your relationships forward. That's what will help keep you consistent with your energy every day. This is what will help you keep your mind in check every day on a constant basis. And this is what will help you, your drive is what's going to help you move forward when your motivation goes away. So to do this, you need to create a bigger vision. You need to create clarity in what you want from your life. And that's going to be the ability to get outside your comfort zone, because your drive or your obsession needs to come from outside your comfort zone. Okay? You got to look deep inside and get outside your comfort zone. This is where your vision and your dreams come into play. One of my mentors would always say, when the dream is big enough, the facts don't count. When your dream is big enough, you don't just need motivation. If you can visualize and manifest the life that you want, this is where your drive starts to take place of your motivation. This is where your faith and your endurance will get tested, but it's where your biggest successes will come from. This is where you will start to live the life that you were truly meant to live. So you need to get super clear on what you want in your life if you want to drive create your drive and create more of this sustainable energy. So what do you want your life to be like? What do you want your relationships to be like? Your finances, your health, your fitness, your nutrition. What type of lifestyle do you want to live? What type of contribution do you want to make? Get specific, get detailed. Start to get clear on what you want, and this will help to build your drive. But stop waiting until you have the entire plan to develop what you want your end goal to be. So many of us are we're afraid to set our end goal because we're trying to figure out what the plan is that'll get us there. Stop waiting till you can see the end of your journey to decide what you want the end to look like. And remember, you don't need to be totally clear on everything to get started moving on the path. You just need to be decisive, and you need to say yes and then figure it out. But I encourage you to develop your vision, because then you can be obsessed with that life, with that goal, with that vision. And what does obsessed mean? It means focus on it every day. Prioritize it. Be consistent. Be relentless. Be driven. Develop your drive and learn to act like prosperity pillars we talk about all the time. Act in spite of your mood. And this is going to start to burn that 10,000 hour log that's going to sustain you and consistently create habits, right? So, habits will be formed when you're consistent, and habits will take you much further than motivation alone. Habits will actually take over when your motivation fades. And you do this by being consistent, and you can create daily rituals that you decide and commit to do. And over time, they will drive you, and they will become things that will fuel your drive to keep you sustained. Now, that's the second type of fuel. So talking about motivation, number one, and talking about drive, number two, wouldn't be complete without a discussion about purpose. Now, I've seen too many people get far in their life and business only to realize that their ladder was up against the wrong wall, or that they question where their life is going. You see this with a lot of really, really successful people. And so this leads us to the topic of purpose. Purpose is the third type of fuel that, you'll find the ability to create fulfillment and fuel your soul, right? Purpose is serving others, and it's not coming just from outside. It's not coming from inside you. It's coming from the ability to serve other people, and you'll create more fulfillment in your life. Happiness and fulfillment and true success will only come when you feel that you're making a contribution and you're helping mankind. And this is why I talk about, when we talk about finding your unique ability, it's finding your unique ability and then using it in the service of others, right? So with this type of fuel, you're going to find the ability to create more fulfillment and ultimately, true and lasting happiness levels. With this type of fuel, you'll feed your motivation, your drive, and best of all, you will fuel your results in your life. So I encourage you to define your talents, the things you're excellent and passionate about, and then find a way to serve others, or maybe to put it a different way, you can find the needs in the marketplace that need to be filled and then fill them with your unique talents. I think purpose ultimately will give you something to lose yourself in. It's something that you can truly devote your life to. It's something that people will be inspired to assist you with and devote their time and energy to helping you accomplish. And it's that type of thing that you'll lose track of time when you're doing it. And so it requires less fuel, this purpose-driven life. So what does all this discussion about fuel and purpose really ultimately mean to you? Because that's the reason I brought it up. Only you can determine where you are in your life, what you need. So ask yourself what stage of your life you're in. Do you need more motivation? Are you constantly trying to motivate yourself, but you need to build and develop that drive and desire? Or are you needing a little bit of purpose in there? Are you even thinking about these things at all? Or are you just on autopilot? Because if you are, I encourage you to stop and get clear on what you need and what you're going to do today to fuel yourself at whatever level that you're at. Find a way to wrap motivation and drive and purpose all together and keep them in check. Be aware, because that's the real key, conscious awareness. And be relentless. Be obsessed. Be great. Do hard things every single day. Challenge yourself every day. Don't give up. Don't settle for any life that's going to keep you from living your ultimate life. So in closing today, a good friend of mine, Bill Danko, who wrote The Millionaire Next Door, he's said a lot lately, what's better than being a millionaire, George? Being a happy millionaire. And he went on to write a second book called Richer Than a Millionaire, which I highly recommend that you get a copy of. And this is so true. So one strategy I'd kind of leave you with is, Stephen Covey would say, begin with the end in mind. And I think that's good advice. Start with some purpose and back it into daily rituals to create drive and desire in your life, and then back it into feeding it with the spark of motivation. I think if you'll do this, you're going to find more sustained progress, more sustained energy and fuel towards your goals. You'll be like that rocket that I talked about, where you'll push yourself into the atmosphere with motivation, and then you'll thrust yourself even further into space with your dreams and your desire and your drive and consistency, and then ultimately you will accomplish some amazing things in your life fueled by purpose and passion. You're absolutely unbelievable. You have talent. You are unique. There are things that you have to offer your world, your relationships, your business. And remember, it's never too late to start living the life that you were meant to live. So start doing that today. I appreciate you listening. I hope these are some things that will help you. My name is George Wright III. This has been the Daily Mastermind. I encourage you to share this message with anyone that you know. It would mean a lot to me personally. And have an amazing day. We'll talk with you soon.